Alright, so today I'm going to interview an artist. Why? Because I like art, and so do most people. So today I'm gonna do like a series where I interview artists, and this is my boyfriend. Yeah, and I figured I'd do him first because if it goes bad, then I can delete it and we never have to speak of it again. But if it goes good, I can upload it. So there's that. All right. So I don't really know how to start this. I've never done like a proper like sit down interview, but I ask a lot of questions and I talk a lot, right, honey?
Yeah.
So I figured that interviewing someone, even if they're not as talkative as me, would be a very good thing. And I feel like I could dig a lot out of you. Okay, I'm just gonna start. So, when did you begin? Well, first of all, what is your art? I mean, I think people can tell but not all your art forms are in the shot. So I figured I would ask, what is your art of forms?
Well, I'm a musician, and I play drums, I play bass, guitar, I sing sometimes, and I write songs.
Yeah, that's also why I decided to pick him, because he had a single. And his next single that's coming out is actually about me. Which is very romantic. And you should all, it's on like Spotify and other platforms. So I will leave a link if I can figure out how to do that in the description. And if not, actually maybe just look up Mitch Gilcreast and then it's there. But yeah, I'll leave his name and whatever in the comments of the video. And you can do that. So how long have you been doing music for?
Well, I've always listened to music since I was 3. It was like one of my first memories. Running around my living room, listening to country music on our sound system, pretending to play banjo on a pot or a pan, and then I didn't actually start seriously playing music until about 3rd grade when I picked up the drums. I joined the school band in 4th grade and then stuck with it for the rest of my schooling career. I'm going to be a senior next year, so it's going to be my 9th year, I want to say, of band. I started playing the bass in 7th grade because my dad plays bass and I'm left-handed, so I had to play his basses upside down and backwards. So I got a bass that year for Christmas, a left-handed one to, play properly. It wasn't until 8th grade when I started playing guitar. I got my first guitar, which was this one, on my 14th birthday, and then I started writing music shortly after. Singing, I've been a singer since I was really young. Not really good at it, but I could carry a tune.
You try.
I try, yeah.
Yeah.
I can. I was in the chorus in elementary school, 4th and 5th grade, and then I quit and then stuck with band through middle school, and then I haven't gone back since, but I only became a singer again recently because my last band was in necessity of a singer, so I tried, and I played drums and sang at the same time, which was an experience.
So speaking of your last band, actually, that was what I wanted to kind of dive into. Tell us a little bit about that, why it broke up, how it formed, the process, the members. I wanted to talk a little bit about that.
All right, well, the band formed, I know the date, because I remember those things. It was September 7th, 2015. I had just gotten out of my first band, which was a punk band. I was in 8th grade.
Actually, in the shot, there's a picture of his old band, the last group of members. It's actually in the shot.
All right, cool.
So yeah, that kind of helps.
No, I was in a punk band called Actually Innocent when I was in 8th grade, and it was with 3 other high schoolers. I was playing a gig with the middle school jazz band, and the singer was like, "We heard you play, we like you, join." And I was like, cool. And I was in that band for like 3 or 4 months until I quit. I kind of ran out of time. I was doing stuff, and I was starting my freshman year of high school, and that wouldn't have been as bad, but we went to different schools, so I went my own way, and I wanted to do solo stuff because I was around the time where I was starting to write music again, and because I said to myself, I play drums, bass, guitar, I could probably write my own stuff, and instead of going solo, because I didn't have the resources to do that, I said I'll start a band instead. I didn't want to wait around and be asked to be in someone's cover band, so I just decided why not put a group of musicians at this new high school of new friends I make. And so that day, September 7th, it was like a Tuesday or a Monday. I don't remember. Might have been Monday. We had the day off from school. And so...
Probably a Monday then.
Yeah, it was Monday. The three of us got together in my basement, which was where we used to play. And then kind of just had a jam session, recorded it, put it on YouTube, and kind of did whatever. Didn't really get a lot of views. But we just had it to document. And then from then on, we kind of grew. We didn't really practice until like November. And that's when we came up with the name. And the name was called M-Jacks. And that was it was the first names of all the members in the band in order of them joining. So M for Mitch, and then JAX for the other members. We were a band throughout freshman and sophomore year. We had some gigs, played a couple talent shows. We played a couple school concerts. We didn't really get our first huge gig until the summer.
Which was at an amusement park.
Yeah, I was at an amusement park, and it was a battle of the bands. So we played, that was like that was our first paying gig, but it was also our last gig. And
then talk a little bit about the breakup. What happened? And
all right, so junior year is pretty much hard year for high schoolers, I guess. For me it was. And, there was a subject that got brought up about something, and then, kind of it was half and half. We disagreed with it, and that wasn't really a big deal. It just happened that, we disagreed, and then we said, let's take time off to kind of think about what we all want to do, because we were kind of getting a little tired, a little repetitive, practicing the same songs over again. Some of us wanted to write and keep writing, and some of us wanted to perfect the small amount of songs we had to get recordings out.
And what were you on? Did you want to keep writing? Did you want to perfect?
No, I wanted to perfect the songs that we had, because we were getting up to like 12 songs, original songs. That was the whole point of the band. But we did a lot of covers just to play out sometimes. And they were decent covers. They weren't like, we're a well-known cover band. We did that out of necessity, but we mostly wrote original music. And so I wanted to perfect what we had, just so we could record, get material out, and then some other people were, let's just keep writing.
And actually, speaking of writing songs and stuff, I wanted to talk a little bit about, your writing process and because you write your own songs, and that's actually what the last two songs. This first song you released was an original, and the next song you're releasing is an original. And you write a lot. You have, I would say, songs that you've written. You have maybe 5 or 6 that you've written even just by yourself.
Yeah. So tying back to the whole breakup of the band, when we went on a hiatus for like a month, and then we all kind of came back, decided, it's probably best that instead of playing catch up, might as well go our own ways. And because we had written a lot of original music, we had to divide and distribute the original material that we had, just to make sure that, I wasn't using someone else's song and they got mad at me for using it, or I had the permission of my songs, they had the permission of their songs. And what ended up happening was, what determined like whose song was what was who brought it to the table, because we had a couple multi-instrumentalists in the band who didn't just write their part. I could have just easily written only the lyrics or the drum parts to a song and let the guitarist write that, or the bassist write their part. But, we all collaborated and wrote our own stuff, so we distributed the material, and, I was left with a handful of like 4 or 5 songs, 4 of which I actually revamped and started doing my own stuff. Because I had permission, I didn't have to worry about, what would I think the other guys think? And I go, no, they gave me permission. I can do whatever I want with this stuff. So that's when I started working on 4 songs that I got, and I scrapped the 5th one. It wasn't that good. And then after I kind of worked on those 4 songs, I started writing original material again. and that's my process is a bit weird. It's kind of reverse of how I.
Alright, there was a bit of a technical difficulty, but we're back, and I'm going to edit that and fix that so it's not super weird and awkward pause, but we're back.
Back to the question was
yeah.
my writing process. So I go backwards from how I learned. I learned drums first and bass, then guitar, but I do that, I write backwards. I'll come up with a melody or a riff for a song on the guitar, then I'll go back, I'll write the bass line, do something, either, depending on how I want it to sound, I'll either double up, the bass will be a double of the guitar, just with single notes instead of chords, or sometimes I'll write it slightly different just to get some cool stuff, and then I'll go back and then I'll record either the guitar or the bass on my phone, and then I'll just listen to it just to write, and then I'll delete it, and then I'll actually record it on the software I use. Yeah. And then I usually write lyrics after. I have a problem with, or I have a hard time writing music to lyrics, but I can write lyrics to music. It's just easier for me.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk a little bit about, like, you know, your lyrics, and because you have a lot of songs that are, you know, very emotional, and so because you know you have this really hard rock thing going on when you play, but a lot of your lyrics are, you know, emotional and obviously have a connection to you. So why don't you talk about your new single actually for a little bit and talk about, you know, what the significance of that is to you.
Now, which one? The one I just released?
The one you just released.
The one I just released.
Yes.
All right. It's called Back in Business, and that one is kind of a bit weird to explain. During the early kind of lineups of my last band, MJax, there was a time where I was like the only one who wrote lyrics, and then people started writing lyrics and getting there, and so I kind of forced myself to write lyrics faster because we needed more material, and I ended up like burning myself out. You know, I didn't write good material. I was focusing more on quantity than quality, and so that was a big mistake. And you know, I kind of stopped writing because I couldn't think of anything good, and I didn't want to. I'd rather write good quality material than write so much. Like, I'd rather not do anything than write crap. So, you know, other people started doing lyrics and stuff, and I edited lyrics just to make sure they all fit because I was the only one with writing experience at that point. And then once everyone kind of got into writing more and more songs, the same with me, I got better as a songwriter, working with other songwriters. So I went through a writer's block, and it was almost a year. It was like from November 2015 to, I want to say, August of 2016. So it was almost a year. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember thinking, I have some good ideas, so I'm actually going to jot these down, because sometimes I get ideas and I just avoid them. And I'd be like, that's not a good idea, I'm going to write something crappy. But this one I had a really good feeling about. And so I wrote the lyrics down on paper, and normally I'll write the first set of lyrics just to see what works, what doesn't, and then I'll change what doesn't work, or I'll rewrite it completely. Sometimes I'll have to write 3 or 4 drafts, sometimes 2, if I'm lucky. But that song was like a one and done. I wrote the first set of lyrics, and it was like perfect.
Yeah, and Back in Business really, to me, seems like a song, you know, it's about getting your groove back, and it's really about...
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. Yeah. Kind of, if you listen to the lyrics, you kind of can connect it to anything. It's anything personable. If you want to talk about, you know, getting back into good relationships with people, if you want to say getting out of bad habits and starting over, or, you know, finally just opening your eyes to the world and experiencing what you haven't before. And to me, it wasn't just, hey, I can write again. It was kind of, I was going through a tough time, and so it was kind of one of those things where I was like, yeah, I feel good again. And so I feel like this is the right thing to do, to start writing again. And it was funny because I wrote the lyrics in like August, finished them. I was really excited about it, but we had just gotten a new member of the band, and we had to make sure she could play all the songs that we had previously before we started writing new material. And so, because she played saxophone and piano, and we didn't have any of that in our stuff before, so we had to go back, work on all our previous originals, and get her parts, and just work on them so she knew what, just to get her acquainted with us. And it wasn't until like November that I actually brought it. That's when we were like, hey, we got all our old songs, let's start doing originals again. And that's when I put my foot in the door as quickly as possible and went, I have a song idea. And it all kind of went uphill from there.
All right, so we experienced technical difficulties again, but also I will fix that. But actually, so we were getting kind of, a little bit long in the video, but it was a really good interview, I thought. Anyway, you did a really good job. I was thinking we could look through your band room because it's really cool. And
all right.
You have, and while you're doing that, talk about, I'm going to, show it around. You can show it around, and then maybe just talk a little bit about how you and your dad built it. That's freaking awesome.
So, this room is actually my garage, and I was playing out of my basement, and so it was very loud, and we couldn't do anything when I was playing, and so we just turned the garage into the studio and put up new walls, put up a ceiling, put carpet on the floor, and just turned it into an overall band room. So over here, got my drum set. This one I got, I think, for Christmas. This is a nice sturdy set. It's the same set I use for all my gigs and all my recording stuff. I have an old beat up set out in the other part of the garage that I don't use anymore, but I used to use that one for practicing and writing, but this one is for gigging and recording. So it's Pearl Export Series with vinyl cymbals. I play with Vader 2B sticks. Over here we got some acoustics. This is my homemade lefty. It was a right-handed classical guitar that we got for free. It was donated, and one of my friend's grandparents passed, and he didn't want to sell any of the stuff. He wanted to give it to people who he knew would use it, and so my friend said, hey, I know a guy, and got some equipment. So this one was right-handed that I restrung lefty. It kind of malfunctions with some of the fretwork, but it's fine. This is my left-handed banjo. Pretty cool. I got that for my 16th birthday at Tradelands. I was just checking it out, and I was like, hey, I've always wanted to play banjo, so now I can. This one's the right-handed acoustic that everyone else shares. This is one of my dad's basses. It's like super old. I don't think you can get them anymore. And this
actually, his dad was almost a member of Linkin Park, but not the Linkin Park you're thinking of.
That's funny. I live by a park called Lincoln Park, and when my dad was really young, they were like, what are we going to name our band? Oh, Lincoln Park. No, that won't catch on. And then later in their life, they're like, damn it. That would have been a good name, because the band Lincoln Park came around at that time. So then acoustic that I got.
So per request, he's making me hold the camera now, because he's an attention hog.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So are we just going to go and talk about instruments and stuff?
You don't have to go super into detail, but this is his drum set.
It's my drum set. I got this a couple years ago for Christmas by my mom's ex-drummer from a band she was in.
Yeah, actually right up there. Casual 6. And they were we're back, we ate, and now we're on this side, and then we just finished the drums.
Alright, so over here, this is my guitar rig. It's a B-52 LS100 over a Magnetone. Don't exactly know how much wattage and stuff it uses, but it's good. It's trusty. It's got a clean and 2 overdrive channels. I use this guitar. It's a Squier Stratocaster. It's my one and only electric guitar.
What about this one?
It's decent, but it gets the job done. This one is my 5-string bass. It's an Ibanez GSR 205L.
And this?
And that one's a Rogue, I want to say LX200BL.
Yeah. And then you have some mics over here. And this is...
I have mic soundboards, a couple things, and microphones. Got a couple acoustics, banjo, speakers, pictures.
Yeah.
That's my rig.
So that was pretty cool. Do you want to play us not the whole song, but do you want to play us a few minutes of Back in Business? Maybe like just the first. All right, so we were having a little bit of technical difficulties, but again, I've said that like 30 times. But so he's gonna play a little bit from his signal, and then if you like it, you can go listen to the rest. This is just the solo part.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up for right now. And if you liked this, I'm gonna do it again. And if you didn't, too bad. I'm still gonna do it again.